Most of you probably recognize this figure from that one cold stance that went viral on TikTok. At the age of 10, he was diagnosed with leprosy. He couldn't feel pain in his arm. Scratches, bruises, and even bites, nothing. His fate was already sealed in silence. He wasn't supposed to make it to adulthood. However, 3 years later, he was announced King of Jerusalem. At that age, he was brilliant, charismatic, a natural leader. But beneath the royal robes, his body was rotting away. While the kingdom of Jerusalem was under siege from within and without, its greatest hope was a boy king, dying from leprosy. This is the story of Baldwin IV, the king who ruled with a sword in one hand and death in the other. Act 1, The Curse. Born in 1161, Baldwin IV was the son of Amalric I, king of Jerusalem. As a child, Baldwin seemed healthy, until his tutor noticed something strange. Baldwin felt no pain. He was injuring himself during rough games, but never flinched. Doctors confirmed the unthinkable: leprosy. In the 12th century, it was a death sentence, a slow and humiliating decay. Most kings would have been cast aside, cloistered in monasteries or hidden away, but not Baldwin. In 1174, at just 13 years old, he inherited the crown. The nobles didn't cheer, they doubted. They whispered behind doors, "A leper king? How long could he last?" Act 2, The Iron Will. They underestimated him. Despite his disease, Baldwin IV was fiercely intelligent. He studied warfare, diplomacy, theology, and when the kingdom faced invasion by Saladin, the legendary Muslim general, Baldwin led the charge, personally. A teenage king with leprosy rode into battle. In 1177, at the Battle of Montgisard, he led a vastly outnumbered Crusader army against Saladin, and won. But while Baldwin held the kingdom together militarily, politically, it was a mess. The court was filled with factions. The nobles wanted power. His sister Sibylla and her marriage became a political battlefield. Some sought to use Baldwin's illness to push him out. He knew he was dying, but instead of clinging to power, he tried to secure a future. He crowned his young nephew Baldwin V as co-king. He tried to prevent extremists and zealots from taking the throne, and through it all, he kept ruling, while slowly losing the ability to walk, see, and even hold a pen. Act 3, The End and the Empire. By 1183, Baldwin IV was barely 22. His body was failing. He was carried on a stretcher to royal meetings. He couldn't even feed himself, but still, he ruled. He outmaneuvered rivals, kept Saladin at bay, and perhaps most tragically, he saw what was coming. He knew that when he died, his enemies would return, that the kingdom might fall into chaos, that without someone strong, Saladin would strike again. And he was right. In 1185, Baldwin IV died. He was only 24 years old. Within 2 years of his death, his kingdom collapsed into infighting. In 1187, Saladin invaded again. This time, there was no Baldwin to stop him. Jerusalem fell. Baldwin IV ruled for just over a decade. He never lived to see old age. Never married, never had children. He spent nearly every moment of his reign in pain. But in those short years, he defied history. He outwitted generals and kept a fragile kingdom from tearing itself apart. all while battling a disease that most men never left their beds with. He was a king of ashes, burning bright before the inevitable fall. Not in spite of his weakness, but because of his unbreakable will. This was Baldwin IV, the 10-year-old king who defied death until it finally caught up.